We are being warned this morning to brace for a sudden increase in petrol prices as the fuel excise returns to its full amount today. The end of the tax cut is expected to raise the cost of fuel by around 16 cents per litre in the coming days. That is roughly $10 extra for those filling a typical 60-litre tank. And with no resolution to the Middle East conflict inside, it could be a long time before we see any more relief. And joining us now is John Blackburn from the Australian Institute of Energy. Good morning to you, John. Walk us through this. How quickly should we expect to see those fuel prices jump now that the excise is gone?
Well, overnight in Canberra, I've seen the Shell stations around where I live go up by 5 cents. The independent ones and Ampol haven't done that as yet. The car motoring associations say that the wholesale price will go up straight away, and we'll see probably over the next week that being passed down to the retail side. So it's on its way up.
So it's on its way up. Look, we know that households are already doing it tough. Is now the right time to wind it back?
Well, the first 3 months of the discount actually cost the government, and therefore us, $2.9 billion. This last month, the reduced discount, that cost about $400 million. So with oil prices sitting at about $88 US barrel for September, you can see the government said, well, if we're going to remove it, this is the time to do it. But in doing so, it's not an even impact. So lower income households, small businesses are going to feel this a lot more than the higher income parts of it. So it's a difficult decision. I understand why they've taken it. But they've also taken it at a time when the risks to increasing prices because of what's happening in the world are actually growing.
Right, so now that fuel excise is back to normal, what happens next? Because as you say, it's sort of like the situation in the Middle East hasn't changed.
Well, it's actually got worse. So if you look at what's happened in the last, say, few weeks, not only is the problem within the Strait, the Houthis have been interrupting traffic in the Red Sea. We've now seen attacks taking place in Egypt. Combined with that, what's kept the prices down a bit for the last few months is the release of strategic reserves by IEA member countries, 400 million barrels of oil. The last of those reserves will actually be released this month. Third factor is because of the war between Ukraine and Russia, a significant portion of the Russian refining industry has been taken offline. So Russia stopped exporting fuel and has now extended that ban until the end of the year. So there are three factors. This is going to make costs increase and the risk increase for us over the next few months.
So how are we looking here then? What do our reserves look like? Do we have enough?
Well, Australia thankfully has some reserves, and that was initiated by Angus Taylor when he was the Energy Minister and implemented by our government. So say you've got 40 days of diesel reserves. That's really important because if that 20% of supply remains interrupted, then 40 days of that would actually allow you to manage things for about 6 months. It doesn't sound quite right, but you're not trying to replace all the fuel. Don't forget, 80% of the world's oil is still flowing. The main issue we'll face is a cost increase.
Do you expect to see any panic buying now that the excise has gone and the economics impacting behaviour at the Bowser?
Well, I hope not, because our fuel systems are set up. They're pretty tight, the whole logistics chain. So if people start panic buying, that'll create a problem. Look, we know what's going to happen. It's not an unknown circumstance. You'll see it rise over the next week or so. So I would say don't panic buy. It always causes more problems for the distribution system.
Yep, well, we are already getting plenty of messages in from Sunrise viewers saying that they have seen those prices go up already this morning. John, thanks for your time today.
You're welcome.
Here's Nat.